Today, we're going to debunk 3 color correcting myths. Myth number 1, you need a lot. I know on social media, we see tons of people do lots of beautiful artwork with a lot of color corrector. My rule of thumb is just a dot. You can always add more if you want, but the tiniest amount of product will neutralize the skin. When it comes to the amount, your goal is to not cover your scar, cover your dark circles, or correct your rosacea with the color corrector. All you're using that color corrector for is to sheer out a veil of color because we're going to build on top of it with other products. We just need to bring some warmth to it before we do so. Myth number 2, all those layers feel cakey. Now this one I want to do a little deep dive into. Although you see several layers being applied, they're actually really tiny amounts of product that are being sheared out. Just because something looks like a lot of steps doesn't actually mean that it feels heavy or looks cakey. I also recommend using really small brushes to blend everything out. This gives you control and precision, and it just gives you more wiggle room if you feel like you made a mistake. And myth number 3, the color corrector is going to mix in with the rest of your makeup. Now, it might if you do not do these 2 things. Number 1, set it with a loose powder or some type of blotting powder. Think about a baking sheet. When you grease it and then you sprinkle a little flour on top of it, it helps the cake come off so much better. The same rule applies with makeup. If you apply a color corrector and you seal it in with a thin layer of blotting powder or a sheer pressed powder, when you go to put something on top of it, it will not stick and mix in. It's also really important that you use a stamping motion when you apply anything on top of it. Don't buff and swirl with firm pressure because that really will break apart all of our color correcting hard work underneath that foundation. You just need a tiny amount of product and push on top. And I know whenever you see someone buff orange color corrector out on their skin before their foundation, the entire process can look super intimidating, but I promise if you work in sheer layers, use a small amount with a small brush, and make sure you seal it in with loose powder, you'll be good to go.